the first questions you ask is, how do I get more traffic from my website? Now, it's not only just traffic. Not only do you need additional traffic to your website, but that traffic also needs to be able to convert. Now, before you go blaming your website, it's not necessarily your website's fault or your fault. Well, maybe not, but let's talk about that. See, the website itself is simply just a digital brochure. Unless that website is optimized, unless that website has clear call to action, unless there's content that actually engages the audience, then that website is crippled. Think about having the very best baseball player, the best slugger in the world, but you give them a broken bat. It'd be very difficult for them to hit that ball out the park. Same analogy works for the website itself. So in today's discussion, we're going to talk about how to get your website to hit the ball out the park. Now, that's going to be a combination of two different things that we'll briefly touch on today, and that's on-site SEO and off-site SEO. Now, again, as a small business owner, I'm sure you've tried several different things, from social media, from paid advertising, from blogging, from, communities, for whatever the case may be. And there's so many different options out there. There's so much noise. It's very difficult to determine what actually works best. As I mentioned earlier, hey, I've been there myself too. About 10 years ago, we started off as a web design company as our primary focus of just creating beautiful websites. Now, in that particular period of time, we also needed to find a way to generate leads as well. So over the years, I've done several different things to try to generate quality traffic from the website: social media, paid advertising, organic, studying this article, reading that article, watching this video, watching this video. Now, fortunately for me, my business actually involves web design, digital marketing. That industry sort of afforded me the opportunity and time to try these different tactics. In your particular situation, you may not have that time available or years and months available to learn these different strategies to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So allow me to, let's say, make the process a lot less complicated. And over all these years of trial and error, let me give you this formula that's going to make the process easy. I'm going to give you simple steps that you can follow to get quality traffic to your website that converts. 80% of our business now simply comes from organic traffic because of the strategies that we'll talk about. So first, we're going to get into on-site SEO and talk about on-site SEO. And for this, we're actually going to head over to the computer. I'm going to show you my screen so we can talk about that in more detail. Hello and welcome to my screen. So as promised, we're now going to talk about on-site SEO and some of the most important factors to help build authority within your website, to make sure that the search engines can find your website, can index your website, and also give authority to your website. So on that next Google search, you can appear above your competition. So let's get right into it. So if we take a look here, you'll see that content on page is one of the most important factors. Again, we're talking about on-page ranking factors for SEO. So again, content on page is one of the most important factors. And when we talk about content, we're talking about not only written text, but we're also talking about images. We're also talking about video and graphs, those things that provide value to the page, value to the reader. But as you're putting in content, you don't just want a bunch of words. You want to make sure, first of all, that they are appealing and that you also have link value in there, which we'll talk about, and that your keywords are appropriately used throughout the content as well. And those keywords stands for the primary products and services that you provide to your audience that they would be looking for. So those are your keywords and your key phrases. I'm also going to open up here to make sure that we can follow along properly. So again, content on page. All right, so let's go down a little bit. It also talks about good content, if you see here, right, on demand. So those content can also be in the form of blogging. So as you write an article, you can kind of think about that article where this is the content I'm going to put on the page. This is the content that I'm going to put within the blog. And then I'm going to link that content from the blog to that page and from the page to the blog. So you're providing that link value, you're providing that path. And again, there's more content here. This is actually off of Moz. They're an authority in SEO. I'll include a link in the description as well too, so if you want to read this article in more detail. Now it talks about, right, title tags, right? The title tags is a primary factor. A title tag would be like the heading that you give that page that's identified to the search engines. So for example, if you are a plumber in Miami, well, your title tag would obviously apply to that. You know, best plumbing service in Miami, Florida. As an example, that might be your title tag. You may have a secondary page within there that talks about, you know, let's say garbage disposal. So that particular one could have a title tag, you know, of repairing your garbage disposal, right? So again, it depends on what service you're providing and what page it is, but you want to make sure whatever the primary focus of that page may be, you want to make sure that it's included in there. Your URL, as you can see here, let's go there. So the URL is not just the URL of the actual website itself, but the URL of its page. So let's use a dentist as an example. If you're a dentist in Weston, Florida, as an example, then obviously you may have a page within the website that talks about Invisalign. So instead of that page being, as you see this example here, right? So it could be mydentist.com, right? Dentistry, and then Invisalign as an example. So instead of, if you look here, you see like a generic URL that may be created would be like so, right? That generic portion of that URL gives no value to SEO. You want to make sure that that page structure or URL structure is set up to give value to whatever the primary focus of that page may be. And let's move on. So that's URL. And again, this content breaks it down a little further for you. So SEO best practices. So here's a list of the best practices for SEO, and let's kind of talk about those. So again, the title tag, the URL, content on page, image off title. So the title tag, that's the actual title that you're presenting to the search engines to tell them what that particular page is about, right? So let's say, for example, if you're a mortgage broker, the particular page that you're writing content for, there are different types of mortgage service. Maybe you're talking about VA loans. So that particular page would obviously be VA loans in South Florida, as an example. The URL, your website address could be, mortgages.com/VA loans South Florida would be that URL for the page, as an example. Obviously, the content in the page would talk about VA loans. It would identify the locations that you serve. It would have articles about the advantages of a VA loan, the process involved in the VA loan. So you want good quality content on the page. Not only do you want it around the keyword, which is a VA loan, but any of the related terms that go along with that as well too, to build that page value. You obviously want, other than just text, you want images on the page, videos on the page. You want to engage the actual viewer that comes to the website. When you do put images or graphs or videos, you want to make sure that you do also have the appropriate SEO optimization for those as well. And for images, that would be what's called the alt text. You want to give that image a title other than, DC14567 that's been identified by your camera, or a screenshot that you've been taking, or an image that you've imported into the website. You want to give it an actual title that describes what that image is about, so that the search engines can pick that up and give more authority to the page. So very important. So that was a quick overview of some of the best practices for on-site SEO. Again, your title tags, your URL, content on the page. A little tip for content, good quality content should be at least about 2,000 words or more for a particular page that's talking about a particular product or service. So you want to make sure that you're around that. If there's more content, even better. But you want to shoot for at least 2,000 words is kind of what you're shooting for to make sure that it's in-depth content that you're giving to your viewer. That's going to help you when you rank in the search engines by providing more value. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and we're going to get back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the next component of making sure your website has authority so it can generate leads. Now, I know some of that information that we just discussed as it pertains to on-site SEO, as we're talking about alt tags, and we're talking about page titles, we're talking about link value and backlinking. Some of those things may be a little complicated, but in our additional videos as part of this series, we'll break that down a little further. So now what I like to talk about the next component, which is off-site SEO as it pertains to a local business. So again, let's head to our computer and let's talk a little bit about that. Welcome back to my screen. So now we're going to talk about off-site SEO and really more of a focus on local SEO for a local business. Meaning if you're a business that primarily serves a local market, be it your community, your neighborhood, your city, your county, or tri-county area, then local SEO is for you. Local SEO consists of not only organic rankings that we'll talk about here, but also the map rankings as well too. Remember the last time you were on Google, maybe you were looking for the hardware store closest to you, or you were looking for a music studio, or maybe you were just looking for that new Italian restaurant, right? You go on Google, you search, and then you get that map listing. Well, that map listing is very important, and appearing in that map listing for the service you provide is also very important as well. Appearing in that map listing would be a difference between getting a phone call and not getting a phone call. So let's talk about that. So let's take a look here on the page, and we're going to talk about the most important factors as it relates to offsite SEO, local SEO. So if we take a look here, a local SEO, that's the pack, that would be the map, and that would be organic. And you will see that those factors are a little bit different for each. Let's first go into the actual local ranking for the map. Let's take a look at that. Well, number one, no surprise, is the Google My Business signal, since that is a Google product. Now, setting up a Google My Business profile is easy enough, just knowing where to go. But what's important is not that it's just set up, but that it's also optimized. In some of our upcoming videos, we'll talk about that a little further. Next are your link signals. And link signals are the actual links that are coming in from other websites of authority. So that could be a chamber of commerce you belong to, a business group you belong to that has a link, talks about the products and services you offer, or just has your link name, address, and phone number. That would be a link value. Or even better, it could be maybe an article that you wrote that talks about the services you provide. Another website of authority maybe is linking to that because they like the content. They want to share that with their audience. Those are link signals. Reviews. Obviously in Google platform, you have the ability to review a business. You want to make sure that you're not only getting reviews, but that you're getting good quality reviews on a consistent basis. If you're having difficulty with that, or maybe if you got a couple of bad reviews, well, you could talk to us about that. And of course, that's called reputation management. On-page signals, we discussed that earlier as part of this particular video. So that's what they're discussing there. On-site signals as it relates to local also has to do with the appearance of your name, address, and phone number in your website. You want to make sure that's visible to the search engine so they know the local market you're serving. And also having quality links about your local market, the name of the market you're serving throughout your content as well too. Citation signals, those are like directories, like a Yelp or a Manta or a Yellow Pages, a Yahoo Local, a Bing Local, right? Show Me Local, the navigation services that are out there, right? Apple Maps. These are all citations that list your name, address, phone number. Not only do you want to make sure that you have as many of those as possible, but you want to make sure that the information is accurate accurate on all as well. Very important. You don't want to confuse the search engines. You want to build trust and authority. Behavior signals has to do with how people engage with your product. Very important. How many people are finding your Google My Business, as an example, or finding your organic listing that are clicking on that. And then once they click, are they staying there? Are they spending time? Or are they leaving? Or if they're leaving right away, that's not a good signal to Google. That means that people don't like your content and they'll devalue your site. If people are coming to your website and they're engaged because you have video, because you have graphics, because you have engaging content and they're staying, then Google is going to know that, hey, people like your website. They're going to give it more credibility and authority, and you're going to move up in the search engines. Personalizations have to do with those things that you personalize content and images, things you do to kind of make your website stand out. And of course, your social signals. Do you have social profiles, first of all, and are you engaged in these profiles? Are you engaging by writing posts on a continual basis? That doesn't mean that every couple of hours you're doing there, but are you doing 2 or 3 posts, per week? Are you engaged? The more you can do, the better, but at least are you engaged with your community? So that's important. If you look at the organic, you'll see number 1 on the organic side are the link signals like we talked about here. Again, those quality links that are coming in from high authority sites, the on-site signals we talked about, behavior we discussed, Google My Business. You simply see how the order changed from the map listing to the organic listing. Again, citations, personalizations, reviews, and social. So they're the same components, but a different order, meaning, guess what? You need to work on them all. But it also shows what's most important, right? So where to spend your time building the most value as it relates to your map listing and your organic, so that way you can determine your time accordingly. And again, as stated, I'll provide a link to this particular page in the description below. Obviously, if you need assistance with this, you can definitely reach out to us. So hopefully, all of this is starting to click for you. Maybe you're getting a little aha moments in that. We talked about on-site SEO. We talked about off-site SEO. Now you may have a clearer picture of why you get the help every Monday morning, because you're looking to get more leads off your website. You're looking to do more business so that you can grow your business, so that you can provide, a paycheck for your employees, a better life for yourself and for your family. And following these principles that we've discussed today and that we'll break down further in the upcoming videos will definitely lead you along that path. So please look out for our next video where we'll break down the first component, which is on-site SEO. We'll break that down a little further. If you're in need of assistance right now with your digital marketing, please reach out to us. You'll see our contact information below. Love to help you with your campaign. And of course, for any of our viewers, we offer a free analysis of your existing website, of your existing marketing, to give you suggestions on things you can do on your own or how we can actually help you. Thank you again.